Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. We got all four of the DNVR crew here as the Avs lose 4-3 to the Arizona Coyotes in overtime. The good news is Cale Makar scored 2 goals. The bad news is only one of them went into the right net.
Oh. Scored one for each team.
Yep.
Nice guy.
It's the season of giving.
Megan said it. Nice guy.
That's the way it goes.
Yep.
Christmas time, he's just trying to vibe out the feelings, I guess. I don't know. Let's start with the 60-second rundown for you here. Avs played a pretty good first period. They struggled to finish a little bit, but do get one on the power play at the end of the period to take a 1-0 lead. A quick flurry of goals at the start of the second period puts the game at 2-1 in Colorado's favor. You felt like they probably deserved a little bit better in the start of this game, but they didn't capitalize. Weren't able to take advantage of some of the opportunities they've had. They let the Coyotes hang around, as happens so often in games against this team. The Coyotes eventually tie it in the second, and then take the lead early in the third, as the Coyotes just jump on the Avs to start the third period. Is a bit sketchy, but the Avs are able to get themselves back into the game thanks to Nathan MacKinnon on the power play. And then the overtime happened, which involved penalties and killing them and Cale Makar scoring on his own net. So,
Tough luck.
just your typical Avs Yotes game?
You mean in that the Avs play pretty well and then a bunch of random bullshit goes Arizona's way and that's why they win the game? Yes.
Yeah, it's more or less what I mean. Not that Arizona didn't earn it. They made the plays that they needed to.
Yep.
But boy, was there some silliness to some of these plays.
You're right. I mean, I thought they were dominant, the Avs, until that. Again, I rarely blame refs, and I'm not. But that non-call on the slash of the stick there. Next thing you know, they end up going in their end for like 2-3 minutes, and then eventually they take a penalty, and then they score on that play. So, yeah, for me, the game changed there. Usually the Avs find a way to get the momentum back somewhere, somehow. Tonight, didn't feel like they did. They were chasing the game after until, like you said, MacKinnon makes that play to tie it up. But I just felt that they were the second best team on the ice after that, that halfway point there.
I mean, should we just get this out of the way first? 2 penalties in this game that I think we certainly don't believe are penalties. The one in regulation, I don't understand at all how the call on Caleb Jones happens. The one on Byram, I don't think is a penalty in overtime either.
It's like so soft, dude.
Yep.
Like it's like very technically on the hands for a brief second, and that's it.
But it's after he loses the puck.
Exactly.
In my book.
And then the hand comes off the stick, and then the whining, and it's just all the show of it. And it's like a referee is looking to make that call, and so he's looking for anything, right? And he decides he sees enough there. And then when you watch it on replay, you're like, buddy, how did we not have 12 power plays each if this is what a call is?
Yeah. Just felt inconsistent. Again, the call Eric was talking about that goes uncalled in regulation where the Avs get one of their sticks chopped in half.
Josh Manson has it just straight sawed in half.
Yep. Tough look.
Yeah.
But is what it is. Not saying that that's the reason the Avs lost the game, but it certainly didn't help. Put it to you that way. Let's go back to the first period. Colorado comes out. They're a little bit all over the place. I think this game was a little bit squirrely. Not that they didn't play well in the first. I thought they did. Where does the failure to execute here come? Is it simply finishing, or is there something more specific that the Avs could have improved on to improve their situation in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Connor Ingram also plays really well.
For sure.
Like, I don't want to take that away from him when you say, oh, the Avs need to improve finishing. That's in part because the opposing goaltender was really good. So, yeah, finishing. Beat the goaltender, but he made that hard tonight.
I think the first period specifically, I categorized as a decent road period because of the way Arizona likes to defend against the Colorado Avalanche. There's always a little bit of adjustments, and so they were struggling with establishing the zone, getting clean entries in the first part of that first period, and that's where I noticed just a little bit of sloppiness, but it's because of the way Arizona likes to defend. They're targeting the McKinnons, the Makars, the Rantanens, and making those entries especially difficult. And I noticed they battled through it. And this is where, coming out of the first period, I thought the middle six was some of the best on the ice because they were being particularly aggressive to earn those entries and then establish the zone with a heavy forecheck. So that's where Logan O'Connor walked out of the first period, one of my favorite players. And that third line on the whole was one of my favorite lines on the whole. And it's because they were playing the right way against Arizona specifically. And that's what I noticed the Avs starting to figure out within the first period, because it started a little bit sloppy. Arizona had some of the first chances on net, but they started to figure it out by the end of that period. That I think it's the way they start the second that I am a little bothered by, because they finished the first period very good after battling through some struggles.
The middle six was weird for me tonight. I 100% with you. Third line was great all night. Awesome stuff from them.
As usual.
And then your second line kind of disappeared tonight. Tatar played fine, maybe even better than fine. Druin played fine. Ryjo had a struggle tonight. It wasn't clicking for him.
Ross Colton, if you were going by minutes alone, was the second line center.
There you go. So, Bednar clearly saw what I saw.
For the last couple of weeks, their even strength time on ice has been very, very close.
Yeah.
Certainly justified tonight. Man, look at that.
But you know what? They bring their heart rates up. And I use that line all the time, but that's Wood, Colton, obviously Logan, your favorite. But I love it. Like, if you look at the celebration after they scored the goal, they're a mess. You know what I mean? Like, Colton loses his helmet. You know what I mean? They just go all out. And that's why, as a fan or as a coach or as a teammate, you can't help but it's infectious. You know, those guys go all out day in and day out, and I love it. And that's why they're getting success right now. And they're going to keep getting success because they got some chemistry right now. You know, they like each other and they feel liked by the rest of the team, so it's fun to watch. You know, it's fun to watch. It's just a hot mess when they're out there. I love it in a good way.
I don't want to be overly critical of the wrong things in this hockey game, because I think there are a lot of positives to take out of it, specifically the power play. The Avs scored twice on it tonight. I don't care if you hate what it looks like. The puck goes in the net. You got to be happy with it, right?
Everything about it, process-wise. It looks awful. It feels awful. And then they score, and you're just like, it's doing its job. What am I going to say?
Yeah, exactly.
Nine games
in a row. They score at least one. Like, give me a break here. The thing rules.
Yeah, when you're at that length of streak, it's no longer a thing that you say this needs fixing. It's I guess if it's not broken, you just ride it. So, Avs get themselves a lead in this game and get themselves back into this game because of their power play.
I wanted to shout out Joel Kiviranta on the first penalty kill specifically.
Sure.
The penalty kill obviously experienced some struggles later, but Kiviranta being a relatively new player and adapting to their PK as quickly as he has, especially when O'Connor has been out of games, he has risen to the occasion in an important way alongside Valnichushkin, whose ice time just continues to go up. And I just wanted to shout out Kiviranta for having that kind of impact, given the unconventional circumstance of how he got to the Avs in the first place.
Yeah, he fit in very quickly, for sure.
Well, you take advantage of an opportunity, right? Like he's gone and talking about coaching and, you know, he learns more about the player. You can tell that he had a big say into signing him, you know, because I think he liked what he saw in those preseason games. And, you know, for him, you know, we talk about NHL contracts all the time. So I think the coach had to give the big okay, hey, I'm going to use him. And to Megan's point, like he's been used on the PK, and I think he's thrived. And, you know, we always say you got to create your own luck for your opportunities and everything, and he's certainly done that. It's a great point.
There's a reason he's earned the opportunity in the NHL and on the PK, as opposed to a Riley Tufte, who we've seen Bednar not willing to put in a role like that. So that's why he's here and Tufte isn't. Not the only reason. Obviously, there's more factors there, but...
Oh, is it because Riley Tufte gets crushed when he's in the NHL?
Doesn't help.
Kiviranta's more responsible
for sure.
In his own end. But the fourth line as a whole was so sheltered tonight, I don't want to necessarily highlight that too much, but Kiviranta on the PK.
Yeah, and look, you get into this game in the second period, and you start to see a theme where when the Avs get hemmed into their own zone, they start to fall apart against this Arizona team. It happens on the first goal. Freddie Olofsson ends up getting stuck out on the ice because they get hemmed in. They get kind of a half change, but the puck ends up in the back of their net. Now, to be fair, the first goal is complete nonsense. It's a double deflection on the way in.
Yeah.
I don't even really know that anyone does anything wrong on that play. It just ends up in the back of your net.
Not everything has to be a war crime, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the thing hits two guys going on the way in. You just have to tip your cap and be like, okay.
If you guys can do that consistently, you're just better.
Okay. Like, yeah, I don't have any criticism anywhere. Like, I'm with you, man. And I think with the hyper focus that we have on everything Avalanche, sometimes we get a little lost in assigning blame to things, and instead of taking more of a 10,000 foot view and saying, wow, that's crazy.
That was crazy.
That first goal, man, if you're mad at somebody there, like,
Shit happens, man. Does. Sorry. Poop happens. Megan's mom's here.
Megan's mom's here.
And I kind of go back to my original statement there. The goal itself, I don't have any problems with. The problem for me is don't allow them that sustained possession.
Yeah, they got outmaneuvered on the cycle. Everything else after that, just kind of lucky, but
Yep.
they were able to establish the zone because of it.
Yep. And let me state it again. That's a nitpick.
You're right.
There's another team on the ice trying to win the game.
And I love the response from the Avs following it.
Yep, absolutely. They come back and they get that goal back.
Good
Your
shift
your
from
third
a third line.
Yep. It's interesting because that third line has found the right combination of something. Miles Wood, the complete chaos.
Being annoying.
Logan
Whoa.
O'Connor, the responsible one, and Ross Colton, really the offensive threat, or biggest offensive threat at very least, on that line. I think they just really caused teams a lot of problems. Eric, you were talking about Wood's first couple steps tonight. He gets on you quick.
Oh, he gets on you quick. It's amazing. And sometimes you have a good stride. That's what makes you fast, like from point A to point B. He's just fast. Like, first two steps, it's amazing. Like, Joe Sakic used to have the fast strides. You know? Bam, 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 bam. Wood is just different because he's such a mess, right? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, he's right on top of the puck, and you're like, holy cow, that was only 10 feet. Like, he's like a Tesla, right? You know what I mean? Like, wow, he's gone. I mean, it's unreal. Like, you don't realize how amazing his first two steps are. Like, it is unreal. Like, tonight, it was just popping on the screen. I was like, holy cow. And that's how he creates his opportunities, right? I mean, he doesn't have the best hands on. We all know that. I think he knows that. But right now, he's finishing, right? He's somewhere, somehow, he is finishing a little bit, so I think it's awesome.
Finishing enough for that line.
Yeah.
As a whole, certainly him and Colton have held down the third line scoring more than enough.
Great play along the wall, though, like Jones on that goal there and Colton right before, right? So it's awesome. Chip, cut to the net. It was awesome.
When it works, it works.
man, I like Caleb Jones tonight.
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot
The
to like
bad
about
call
that
on
game.
that penalty.
Yeah, his worst play is a not penalty that gets called against him.
Yeah, like Clayton Keller's just like, I'm going to lay down now. What?
Tough look on that one. I
I
don't
didn't
know.
like it.
I noticed too his utilization seemed like he was earning more trust with
Yep.
Bednar.
What did he finish with?
I was actually just about to look it up.
Okay.
Let's see.
Good chunk of time, I imagine.
13:59.
I was going to say 15, yeah.
It's up.
Yeah.
That's up.
Yeah.
You noticed him a lot more
Compared
tonight.
to
He was
under
being
12,
used
yeah.
a lot more.
Yep. So, some positives there. Again, outside of a bunch of weirdness, I don't have that many negatives tonight.
Yeah, I mean, your first goal against is a double doink.
Yeah, you just
Like-
go, okay, go next on that one.
Double zoinks, right,
So,
guys?
like,
Velma.
I'm staying away from this now.
I'm so sorry.
The fourth goal, you put into your own net.
Straight up an own goal.
That's half of their goals that you're just like, well, okay.
Whatever. Move on. Don't do it again, I guess, is all you can say on the own goal. But
Don't do it again.
anyway, we are brought to you by Bet365. You can get over there and keep your sports never ordinary, like this game. Certainly didn't feel ordinary. Didn't hit my bets tonight. I was due for a down night, though. I'd been pretty hot for a minute there on Bet365, so can't win them all. But you can get over to Bet365 and use the DNVR 365 code to get amazing odds boosts every single day. If you saw some of the big bets I hit the last few days, get in on that parlay boost. It's a good chunk of extra change, 30% on the NHL parlay boost that you can get some extra money with. So get in with that. You can bet on everything under the sun, from football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and other crazy sports, whether it be table tennis to esports. They've got you fully covered with Bet365. Remember to use the DNVR 365 code when you get on there, and come out tomorrow and the whole weekend, actually. I think we're doing some Bet365 events at the bar. You can come enjoy the Avs games this weekend. You can win some money for your account if you come hang out at the bar. So come join us. It'll be a fun time with Bet365. Of course, you must be 21 or older, Colorado only. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER today. And then, when you're at the bar, get yourself some Breck Brew. 8 different kinds on tap here at the bar. Of course, you can always find it at home or at your local liquor store, too. Use the Breck Beer Locator online at breckbrew.com to find it near you. You can also check out their website, find all their cool merch, which they have a bunch of awesome stuff that people always like when we show off their hats and things like that. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. Looking at these goals.
Are you still mad at Scooby-Doo, buddy?
No.
Oh, just making sure.
I'm fine.
He's mad at chat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just... Guys, Arizona's a good hockey team, and losing to them on the road in overtime. Like, there's no shame in this.
Let's expand on this conversation. Are we all okay with 1 point out of this game?
Yes.
Yes?
I'm okay with it.
I don't know if this is dramatic, but I also do think that they are a little bit sick. I think that some of those Avs looked a little bit tired to me tonight at points, and I think they're battling through a bug, and that I'm taking that into consideration. I'm especially happy with a point.
Well, good. It's a good thing they don't have a back-to-back coming up.
And look, it's not like I took everyone's temperatures and,
Maybe you did.
Polled everybody.
I know what this is.
Yeah, but when
this
you're...
is Sam Malinsky music. That's what this is.
When you're in a locker room and around the team, like,
agent.
you get a pulse for these types of things.
Yep.
Like, you get a feel for this kind of stuff. So if you're gonna say that, I believe you. I trust you, because like when you're there every day and you're talking to the guys and you're around, you understand what the like base level of energy and what it's like around everybody.
Seems so healthy. Just I was telling my mom, I was like, I think it's because they're in peak performance, peak shape, because them sick doesn't really look sick. But
also, I'm sure they get the good IVs that we don't get.
You know what?
Sitting
it's
in
a
the locker
short
room.
flight. It's a short flight. It's good weather. They're in California tomorrow. They're on the side of the highway in Anaheim. Nothing to do. They're going to relax, go for a nice walk. They'll be ready to go, and there won't be a practice. And you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be all good. They're going to be fine.
I
It's
think
going to look like when Barbie and Ken go to the real world. They're just going to, like, down the boardwalk.
go rollerblading.
Exactly.
Miles played cross Colton.
that ends in a disaster.
I can see drop Miles Wood into Ryan Gosling. No problem. It's the same movie.
And Margot is Ross Colton.
That's a tougher act. It's a tougher one to follow. Honestly, if you put Bo there.
I see it. Bo needs to believe in himself like Barbie does.
I didn't see it. I skipped. My family went. I didn't go. I skipped it.
Maybe Georgiev before he shaved the head. I don't know.
Yeah.
I see it.
Skull with the hair.
Yes.
He's got long hair. That's Barbie.
I don't think any Av can act to the level of Margot Robbie. I'm sorry.
I agree.
But to expand on your point, I would go maybe even a little bit further than, hey, they're a little sick or a little bit off. You can see it in some of the replays. We talked about it after the Avs' third goal. On the replay, they show the celebration, and Makar's hugging the guys, and he's like, he's wincing. You see the couple of turnovers from Makar, not including the own goal tonight, where you're like, something's not right. Just looks that way.
Even most of McKinnon's night. I know he gets the power play goal, but it just, the last game too, I just didn't think he looked 100%. Now we know he was under the weather. That's sort of where
confirmed.
this started. But
So, again, you go on the road, you get a point. Did you want to? Absolutely.
Sure.
But if you play 500 road hockey, that'd be disappointing for a team like Colorado. But in the grand scheme, that's what most teams are trying to do. Try to go 500 on the road and then be good at home.
Yeah, and at Arizona is always going to be who the hell knows, dude. And then you expect to win at Anaheim, and then at LA you're like, whatever happens in that, just get out healthy.
Well, and look, if they go in and win in Anaheim, they have 3 points out of this road trip.
It's a successful road trip.
You've hit 500. So as always,
a successful road trip, and then again, just get out of LA healthy. They could forfeit the LA game, and I wouldn't have a problem.
I don't know about that.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Just get out healthy, dude.
As we've said after every loss, I think this season, it's not about the loss, it's about the next one. And if Colorado beats 1 point out of this, feels great. So we'll see how the Avs respond. I'll leave it to you that way.
Nico is weird, Barbie.
Little bit of a poor start to the third period for Colorado. Arizona came out and jumped on them. A little bit surprising to me because of just how good the Avs have been in third periods this year. Is that kind of where this, maybe they're a little under the weather creeps in, or is there something more fixable there?
Well, we talked about it in the pregame, right? We said big third periods again. That's a key to any game on the road, especially the Avalanche, because they've done so well. But you're right. Tonight, it didn't start too good on the start, right? They score in what? The first couple minutes, right? They tie it up.
In the third,
yeah.
Arizona took the lead.
That's
in the
right.
first couple
Oh, sorry,
minutes,
took the lead. Sorry, it's 2-2 after the second. Yeah. So they go sideways a little bit. Never, until that McKinnon goal, right?
Yeah.
I just felt that they were a little bit out of sync up to that moment. But it wasn't the typical third period that the Avs have had in that first quarter of the season. And you look at it, now they end up on the wrong side of the. But they get that point, which I believe is a huge point. It is huge. Listen, you want 2 points all the time. I'm going back to the question, are you satisfied if there is one? You always said it. I mean, you want to rack up points. That's what you're trying to do. It's a long year. You're not going to go 82. I know it's impossible, even though we want to. I mean, as a team, you want to. As a coach, you want to. But, it's – and you got to remember, this is a veteran group. It's a veteran coaching staff. You don't ride the highs and you don't ride the lows. It's even keeled. They're going to get on that plane tonight, relax, breathe, move on to the next one. And you can't just look back and be pissy about things. Stuff happens. You're going to make bad reads. You're going to make bad plays. You're going to make bad saves. You're going to have some bad power plays. You're going to have some bad power plays, but still score. You know what I mean? Like it's been. So, but, somewhere, somehow, wasn't that bad of a game. Like Megan said, they are under the weather. It's easy to see. It's not an excuse because everyone goes through that. Everyone has 3s and 4s. Everyone has back-to-backs. You're in the nitty-gritty of the season now. You're starting to get into that rhythm of games, and there's not a lot of practice. And they did hit practice there a couple days ago before they left, which you could tell coaches were anxious about running some drills they wanted to go through and work on the defensive systems. And as players, you kind of like, God, is this day over, right? You know what I mean? But coaches love that stuff, and but they're gonna be fine. And that's the beauty of hockey. Beauty of Cale, for example, tonight plays a great game, has a couple mistakes like that. You don't have to wait like football for a full week. You know what I mean? You go tomorrow, you have some fun. You breathe a little bit, catch a little bit of sun, then you're right back at it Friday night, and then you can. Again, we know when Cale messes up like he did in Nashville. Came back, was outstanding the next game. So, not worried about Cale Makar. He's going to come back strong. He's not going to get himself down. No one's going to be down on Cale Makar because he scored in his own net.
Who's going to say anything to him?
No one's going to say.
Also, the only reason they make it to overtime in this game.
That's
anyway.
the point.
He
Yeah.
has 2 points out of the three out of their 3 goals in regulation, and it's like
that's
the guy. The guy's he's nearly leading the NHL in scoring. He might have actually passed Quinn Hughes for defenseman scoring tonight. I'd have to check.
It's close.
Vancouver's
they were
in
at
play.
0.
I don't know.
They were at 0. Vancouver.
But I'm saying like the guy, like who's gonna say anything to him?
Yep.
Like, oh, you fell down on the goal in Nashville on 6 things go wrong there. But somehow that's your blame. And on this one, yeah, he puts a puck into his own net. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's no bones. Like, there's nothing to say about it.
He'd been on the ice for friggin' 2 minutes over, killing a penalty. It's so hard.
He kills the entire 4-on-3 or 3-on-4. Yeah, 4-on-3.
Yeah, there's no oxygen left in your brain. And I'm not saying it's a bonehead play. I'm saying,
no.
I know it's easy what he's trying to do. The glove's right there. He's trying to just push it there so you can cover it. But
he thinks that Georgiev's pad is on the ice. It's not. It's hard. It's this far off the ice, and the puck goes that in.
It's a tough one.
You can see him because after it goes in, you can see him he's off to the side of the net, and he's just like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Like, how does defenders push pucks into their goaltenders
constantly?
Way more than they accidentally push a puck into their own net. This is a normal thing, and it just goes wrong in an overtime. And so you're like, "Damn, that really sucks." But it's like, who's gonna say something to Cale Makar?
Me. No.
Good luck, dude.
I have nothing to say.
If you said something to Cale Makar, he would be like, "Yeah, I really let the team down. It was really dumb of me. I thought I was making the right play, and I ended up putting it in my own net, and I'm so sorry. I cost us points." And we don't know that. We don't know that they would have won over the next 30 seconds or in a shootout.
Yeah.
Might be in the exact same situation. For it to go the way that it did, it sucks. They got a point, but it's fine. Like, it's fine.
Yep. I want to rewind a little bit before we get more into the Makar thing, because I do think the one real problem you have in this game is the third goal against.
Yep.
You just don't play this properly defensively. Bowen Byram gets caught on the wrong side of the net, doesn't take his man at all, and then Georgiev gets beat on the far side on a guy on Carcone who comes out in front, and it's not a special shot. It's not anything crazy. Georgiev just gets caught deep in his net.
He's just too committed.
Sure. To
the left post. And
yeah. I mean, I'm his biggest supporter. I hate that goal. I that's a bad one.
Yep.
And I'll defend him, but this one I can't. Bo, like you said, Bo's on the wrong side of the net.
Yep.
What's he doing?
That's what I mean. But I think, and again, now I'm going to Georgiev's defense. So he slides over commit, but he's thinking he's going to get some protection on that side. Then I think he realized, he has no protection. And then the guy just comes in and, was it Carcone, and puts it far side. It's a bad goal, but I think he thinks, because you got to remember, when you're like this on the right post, you're looking with your right eye there on the right. You're looking to see, you're not really looking to you notice Byron there, but in your mind, you think there's an extra body on the other side, right?
Sure.
Because you can't, as a goalie, figure out where the 5 guys are. So it's easy. He's thinking, okay, he's on the other side. And then once you get to the other side too hard, then he's overcommitted, and then his pad is behind the net. Doesn't have time to reset, and then the puck comes in. Bad goal, bad read. Good effort by the Coyotes because they get on the puck on the corner first. I think it was Josh. That's on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Josh can speak,
He gets
right?
beat.
So, again, there's always mistakes before a goal. Those were the mistakes that were, before the goal, and then of course the goalie's the last line of defense, and bad one.
I wanted to talk about it because Manson's night is interesting. Obviously, he loses that foot race, but there was a lot of effort from him. I remember in the second period, some sprawling and diving plays just to clear the puck. And then, of course, the big hit on Boyd that leads to a man advantage for them in a period where they need a power play goal to tie things up, and they find it. And I'm not necessarily advocating for that to always lead to a fight that leads to a penalty that leads to a power play. But it was interesting, the level of commitment and effort from Manson tonight that I think was an ingredient to their success. I think the players that you saw had the high level, high effort, were the ones who allowed things to happen. Even on that power play opportunity, Val Nichushkin makes a diving play to contain the puck to keep the play alive. And it's just those types of plays from the Woods and the Coltons and the Mansons and the Nichushkins that I think kept the Avs in this game and gave them some life.
And that's why I think I really don't have a huge problem with this game. Even someone like Bowen Byram, you look at a number of good shifts from him, even if he's at fault for that third goal.
That call, too, was such a good recovery on, obviously the skater escapes him, but I thought his defensive play to recover from that was so smart, and it just gets called instead.
Another game where Bowen Byram is looking at the refs and going, what are the rules? What are the rules to this game?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
think
don't know.
For sure with the call. Obviously, I've said my piece about that. It's bullshit. But the third goal, Byram removes himself as an element entirely.
Yep.
That was bad.
You're not doing anything. You've accomplished nothing.
He covered nothing.
You've chosen the one route in which you are not helping your team at all in that situation.
Yep.
And it makes you wonder what the hell's going through your brain right now. So like that element of it, that's tough.
Yep.
We're talking about, oh, the call is nonsense and whatever, but how does he let that guy get behind him? It's Nick Bukestad.
Not the fastest.
That guy hasn't won a foot race since high school. How do you let that guy get behind you and beat you?
Yeah. I'm not saying there's not problems there.
So, like, that's my problem with Byram. What I liked about Byram is that we saw a very different Bowen Byram with the puck.
Yep.
He was attacking. He was trying to find something in defense. One of Eric's keys to the game earlier in the pregame was Bowen Byram activating, and we saw a ton of that tonight.
Yep.
And if he's going to do that, I will live with defensive lapses and issues. If he's doing something on the other end of the ice, if we feel like his game is going somewhere there, and tonight I felt that was the case, absolutely the case. Has not been the case for far too many games this season. And to be honest with you, I don't mind Bowen Byram going through the struggles that he's going through. This is a young defenseman for the first time in his NHL career is healthy. He broke the 100 NHL regular season games played mark this year. Yep. 4 years into it. So all the experience that we think he has is not the case. He is still going through so much of the learning curve of being an NHL defender.
How to do this every day.
And I think we got a false sense of where his game was because he was aces during the Stanley Cup run.
Yep.
And, you know, if you had $1 for every time a team bit on something that wasn't real that they saw during a Stanley Cup run, you'd have a lot of dollars. You'd have Sean Bergenheim's bank account. Because sometimes that stuff just doesn't, it's just not reality. Guys get hot for a couple of weeks at a time. They respond in the moment to a big stage. It is not the same as playing a game in Arizona at the end of November. It's just different. And what we're seeing with Bowen Byram, it is painful to watch. It is growing pains of a young defender. Does it make you worry that maybe he's not going to be as good as we all believe? Sure, of course. But do we know he's better than this because we've seen him be so much better than this? Is this the real? We talk about falling in love with the best of a guy and believing that's who he is. Are we really believing that the worst of Bowen Byram right now is who he really is? Hell to the no. Absolutely not doing it. Especially on a night like tonight where there are mistakes there, but there's so much good from Byram's game that you can take out of this.
Yep.
I hope that the video coach tomorrow, I hope Brett Heimlich sits down and pulls a video package, puts it all together for Byram and says,
here's all the good.
Look at all the stuff that you did that we loved. You know the big mistakes. We're going to talk about those too. But here's all the stuff that was great. Because there was a lot of that in there for Byram and a lot more than there has been. So it's growing pains. If it continues like this, you really have a concern.
Sure.
But for me, tonight was a shining light on a player in a deep rut.
I mean, the reality of the situation is Byram's going to have to work through it because there is no Sam Girard, because there isn't the defensive depth where Byram is a guy that, forget sitting him, they can't even give him a lesser role right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I love adversity. I don't like silver platters. I don't. I like when you go through stuff because it makes you a better player. And like Rudo just said, it makes you realize how tough it is to play in the National Hockey League. And the expectations have always been there for Bo, you know, and like you guys say, you guys lived it with the Stanley Cup run. And yeah, sure, it's easy to jump in there because, you know, the expectations are low in a sense because you're young and you're just a secondary guy. But now it's different, you know, and hey, our friend Sammy's not there. And it shows, right? You know, there's a hole back there. So it's time for Bo to step up now. It's time for him to show that. I always say, and it's not about money. But it is about money when you come down to contract negotiations, and and it's always about roles, and I want this and I want that. Well, there's a great opportunity here for him for the next little while, right? That who knows how long Sammy's going to be gone, but A, makes you realize how good Sam Girard is. Hopefully fans understand that now. B, I know, but again, I love him. So B, it makes you realize, boy, you got to step up, right? And like you said, there was a lot of good things. Like we all said, there was a lot of good things. But there's capable of more. And the biggest thing, and coaches will tell you, Bo Byron is no different. The word consistency is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You have to learn as a young player in the league until you hit about 25. And Bo's not there yet. There's got to be some inconsistencies in your game. And that's the toughest thing to do. And it comes with time. It comes with reps. It comes with experiences. And it comes through adversity. You know what I mean? So it's good for him to go through adversity. Makes you a better player. Makes you better understanding of the game. And it makes you understand more what it's like to be a competitor day in and day out and help your team and your teammates achieve the common goal.
How many people in chat do you think know who Sean Bergenheim is?
I don't know, man. or why, or how much he got paid, or why he got paid what he did, just because that one really, really crazy couple of weeks in the postseason. He's always been my favorite. Be careful of the playoffs.
Calendar guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was a well-traveled guy by the end of it.
It's what happens when you don't live up to a contract.
Yeah, it's what happens when a team talks themselves into something.
Yeah.
So, but with Byram, I don't think the Avs have talked themselves into something. I think they think
he can be that guy.
Yeah, we have a guy that we think can be really, really good for us. But these struggles, good reason why Devon Taves is on has signed the contract that he has.
Yep.
The Avs were like, we're not taking this chance.
He's already really good. Just keep that.
We're keeping a top pairing, and if Byram becomes this in time, great problem to have.
Yep.
I think we all agreed that day. That's one of the biggest reasons.
Absolutely. So it's with Byram, like the penalties are a huge thing. That's got to stop. And that sucks because you look at tonight, like when he's getting delay of game penalties, and everybody's just like, you're being dumb, stop doing that. The call tonight, it's like it's another
what do you
penalty.
do?
But
yeah.
Dude, he should be talking to the ref and being like, What is this?
And he's had a couple of those in the last 5 or so games where you look, he's taken a lot of penalties, but you look at some of them and you go, that's not a penalty. What do you say? Well, you can say this. Is Devon Taves in your lineup, that signing? Is that like putting on a pair of Hestra gloves? All right. You're protecting your hands a little bit there.
I like the transition.
Hestra is a glove company that's been around for over 85 years. They know what they're doing when it comes to making gloves. You can get some today. They make all sorts of fantastic gloves. You can get good ski gloves for shoveling. You can get all sorts of outdoor work, whether it's outdoors in the cold, whether you just want to work on your car, whether you want to take some gardening, whatever you need. Hestra gloves will take care of it for you. We all got regular work gloves. Megan got the cool gloves. I'm jealous.
So nice.
But they make fantastic gloves. They work super duper well, especially with the whole keeping you warm thing. As turns out, it's gotten pretty cold in Denver lately.
I broke them out this last week.
Yeah, there you go. So keep your hands warm with Hestra gloves. They're great for all sorts of different fits. Their job gloves will work for just about anyone, whatever you're doing. They're also local here to Colorado, 4th generation owned here in Arvada. So head over to hestrajob.us and use the DNVR job code to get 30% off your next purchase of gloves. And if you are looking to bulk order for maybe your work team or something like that, you can email Josh at hestrausa.com today. Again, use the DNVR job code over at hestrajob.us to get your gloves today. And then make sure you go over and check out Breckenridge Distillery. Get yourself some award-winning whiskey. No winner shots tonight, unfortunately, to talk up Breck Distillery because the Avs didn't come through. But they are our official winner shot when the Avs do the thing. So you can enjoy some vitamin W when the Avs do as well. They also have a great new vodka that just came out, and other alcohols that you can get to as well. Almost all of them have like a ridiculous amount of awards because they make really good alcohol. Go check them out. Also get in the fan vote for the chance to win a suite to the New Year's Eve Broncos game. Starts tomorrow. So make sure you're going to BreckenridgeDistillery.com and voting on that. Help somebody win some sweet Broncos tickets. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. What is it about the Arizona Coyotes that just always allows them to hang around in games against the Colorado Avalanche?
I don't know. It's like a nemesis. It's like a mosquito in the summer. That just won't go away. And I mean that with all the respect to their team.
The Avs need some coyote spray.
Yeah, you need to spray. There's always somebody that gives
jackets that they put on dogs to
with
deter
spikes.
coyotes.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I'll tell you, and sometimes it lasts over a career, and if for some reason it's a building, you just don't. Again, it's different. The mullet just started last year, but there's some places you just don't feel comfortable. You go in there, everything's wrong. You don't like my place was Carolina. I didn't like Carolina. The towels in the locker room just smell like fish. I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
But you're not superstitious.
But I'm not superstitious, extremely. And it's just weird. And it's just. But all credit to the Coyotes. They get up for Avs games. They want, again, we use the word measuring stick all the time, and the Avs are the elite of the National Hockey League last few years. So teams like that, they're up and comers. They're well coached. We talk about it all the time. Turing is outstanding. I think Armstrong's done a good job, and rebuilding their identity. And they're a tough out. It's not an easy out. You're not like playing the Coyotes, and it's like, oh, that's an easy win. It's tough, and they give the Avs trouble, and it's always funky and weird. Like AJ still shaking his head. It's not at Scooby-Doo, but at the Coyotes, and and everything. So that's where it's at for me.
Nothing else on the Coyotes?
Oh, you guys are waiting for me to talk?
You're the one over there going, I hate this team so much.
I can't stand them, man. But at least these days, they've got real players. And it's not some schoolyard bullshit. Like, that's a real hockey team.
Yep.
I don't know how Logan Cooley isn't a point per game player. That guy's a wizard with the puck. It's crazy. Every time he and Matthias Michelli touch the puck, I get nervous. Because I'm just like, these guys, the way that they play East-West in a North-South league, it screws defenses up. It screws up transition. Both of those guys are going to score so many points in the NHL. It's so frustrating to watch. And like my hatred of the Coyotes, and just like personally, comes from the last couple years of them being a god-awful hockey team, and the Avs not just getting like 4-0, 5-0, like just breezy wins against them. And it's just been so frustrating every time against them. Even when they've picked up wins, they haven't been fun. Like what the Avs did to Chicago, 4-0.
Yep.
It was never close. They whooped that ass and sent them packing, and it was great. That's how you treat bad teams. The Avs didn't get that against the bad Coyotes over the last couple of years, and it's just been frustrating to me on a personal. It's just so frustrating. And like tonight, honestly, that's a good Coyotes team. They're in the last playoff spot right now.
Yep.
Like within striking distance of third place in the Central Division.
Totally.
Like, that's not a bad hockey team. They're a little beat up right now, but that's a good team. Their defense isn't great. But when they really get going offensively, they play to an identity, which I think is the most important thing for teams to overachieve. Is you've got to know who you are, you've got to be comfortable in that skin, and you've got to live and die with how that games go. They get 2 nonsense goals tonight. They should be thrilled about 2 points in this game. Didn't fully deserve them, but they didn't get dog walked otherwise. They didn't get blown out of the building. The Avs, I think, were better. They don't catch the breaks. They walk out with a point. There's nothing wrong with this.
I think it was a pretty heavy hitting game too, and I have to imagine over the last several seasons that it might have a lot to do with Arizona getting up for these games against the Avs specifically. So many teams gunning for the Avs when they play them because they know they're the Avs. And I imagine that fuels Arizona a little bit anytime they have the Avs as an opponent.
I think,
like, respect to the Coyotes, because that's team that, like, that's a team that takes every game as an opportunity.
Yep.
Like, they play with the right mentality. They play with the right respect for the game. They have good habits. They play the right way. Like a classic, like, they play the game the right way. And, like, you have to respect that part of it. Now they have talent, and they play the right way. And that's what makes them, I think, a team that they should be a favorite, in my opinion, for one of the playoff spots out west right now.
Third and central wild card, whatever.
I don't respect anybody else in the Pacific Division. I'm scared of Edmonton. I just think they might be too far back. But as a wild card contender, I think Edmonton could do it. But I think Arizona's the other team that I really like to come out of the Central Division as a playoff team. I like their chances more than I like St. Louis's chances.
I agree with that. And you look at the rest of the Pacific, you're talking about a team like Seattle that has really struggled.
They suck, dude.
A team like Calgary that is now actively selling players.
They suck, too.
That's what I'm saying. But I think the Coyotes...
I'm not trying to be mean. These are all under 500 teams. Like, these are all teams that have played bad hockey through the first 20 games. And I don't see where there's a path to getting better. Everyone in Calgary wants out. And it just hasn't worked for going on 2 years now.
Yep.
It hasn't worked. You got a huge problem. Seattle, we said it all season while it was happening last year, wildly overperformed.
Yep.
Now they are probably back to underperforming a little bit, but they're not playing to any kind of real identity anymore. What made them scary last year was depth. Their depth has sucked. Their top guys have sucked. You have a huge injury in Burakovsky. They can't afford to miss out on guys like that. Oliver Bjorkstrand hasn't been good enough.
No.
They still have shitty goaltending, and now their defense finally has cracks in it. Like, there's nobody in the Pacific that I think is scary except an Edmonton Revival, which is likely because the rest of the Pacific sucks.
Well, and here's for me the difference between Arizona and Seattle this year. And it's a good lesson not just for the Coyotes, but for teams that play the Coyotes. Arizona consistently finds ways to keep itself in games. They hang around, they find ways to keep the pressure on, and that leads to wins some nights. And on the flip side, for a team like the Avs, you just learn the lesson of why you don't let a team hang around. You need to put those teams away. You need to give yourself 2-goal leads.
Why your second shift of the third period in a tie game can't be everybody giving up at the same time.
Exactly.
You have three guys that are the last line of your defense that have their worst plays of the game, all within 5 seconds of each other.
Yep. And the
Can't
puck's
have
in the
that.
back of your net.
And the rest of the third period is great.
Yeah,
they outshoot.
They pushed back perfectly.
They outshoot Arizona 9-3
Yep.
at 5v5.
You just spent the first minute and a half of the period not showing up.
You score your goal on the only power play. Like, you do everything right in the third period other than the 5 seconds where everybody just plays bad hockey and they capitalize. And that's Arizona hockey.
Yep.
You make a mistake against it, and that's what happens. A good team that plays the game the right way
Will punish
lives
you.
off of mistakes like that.
Yep.
You can't make mistakes like that against those guys. And now they actually have real players. I mean, somehow Liam O'Brien is still in the league, and that guy's awful. But the rest of the rest of that roster is like Alex Kerfoot and Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller and Logan Cool. Like they're good.
Yep.
They're good. They have good goaltending. Their defense isn't great. But, like, damn it. I've talked myself into liking the Coyotes.
See?
I had them the highest ranked in the division
prediction,
previews.
yeah.
Just wanted to go on record.
Me and
with that.
Rudo didn't have a lot of faith in them. Well, we were like,
I didn't
they were
hate 'em.
lower pack, you know.
Mullet.
I did not think Minnesota was going to be this bad.
That's my other thing. Minnesota cratering is, like, the thing I didn't see coming.
Won again tonight, though.
Boy, what was it, 6-1 in Nashville?
Well,
It was 4-1.
Nashville, I
last
believed, was going to be terrible.
But they've been good last few.
Nashville's-
I mean, they've been good for a little bit right now.
Nashville's okay.
Except for that they're still well below 500, but sure.
Yeah.
Well, but lately they've been better.
Like a classic, like, blah-ass team.
Yeah.
They're going to ride the roller coaster, man. Unlike the Pacific Division, which sucks. There's no roller coaster.
The final point I would like to make about this game, and it's the point you were making to yourself during overtime, AJ.
Oh, God.
If Makar's going to put a puck into his own net, Do it in November.
Yeah, dude.
At the end of the day, the Avs are doing just fine. They get a point out of this game. They're still sitting at the top of the Central Division.
Yeah.
Don't stress too much over this one.
I was stressing hard in overtime,
Yeah.
and then I was like, why bother? They have a point. It's November. just calm it down.
You're
big
doing
fella.
okay.
I think it was the Cowboys fan driving you nuts.
I
That
think
was confusing.
subconsciously he riled me up a little bit. I also think that I'm bipolar and my emotions are unpredictable at times. Tonight was one of those nights. People paid the price for the Scooby-Doo thing. People paid the price on the watch along. People paying the price in the post-game pod. I'm a menace to society.
I've been trying to think of a Scooby-Doo villain joke about, how they pull the mask off and it's actually something else underneath about the game tonight. I don't know if there's like a villain, you pull the mask off and it's actually this.
The Coyotes pulled the mask off, and it's actually a good
Cale
team.
Makar.
It's actually a good hockey team that I have respect for.
I like that. No,
You
I
pull
like that.
last year's Coyotes mask off, and you have this year's Coyotes, and I'm like,
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. I like that.
Megan's mom's hiding. She's scared of AJ.
He heard about the piranhas, and I think that he's scared of her.
I have more respect for the Piranhas than I did before.
About
It's tremendous.
The assaultive nature of them.
I just worry that everybody is afraid of me all the time because I'm wildly unpredictable. So
So are Avs
You sound
Coyotes
Puerto
games.
Rican.
I mean, I'm German. We have a history.
Any final thoughts about this hockey game? Anything that I missed that you guys want to touch on?
No.
Good?
I got one.
Go for it.
I was just reading our good friend Jared from the Avs office, his post-game things, and this is the 30th consecutive winning month for the Avalanche.
That's a lot of
So there's
winning
nothing
months.
to worry about. It's all
Dude.
good. That's pretty amazing.
That's actually a tremendous statistic.
It's unreal. I was reading that 2 seconds ago, and I'm like, that's
when you talk about
30.
the highs and lows of regular seasons.
we're talking about consistency
Yeah.
as
Talking about
individual players. Holy cow!
3 straight years of over 500 hockey.
Each month, you don't have one bad month. Like that's amazing. It's unreal. That's why it's
Pretty
all
good.
It's all good. It's all good. It's gonna be fine. Sleep tight.
How the hell did they get through December last year?
That's my point.
scary.
Like, there's been some scary months.
That
And
was
a
you know
scary
what? They've
month.
never had a losing
Evan
month in 30.
Rodriguez. That's how.
Remember that one? Yeah. Hey, he pulled that shootout move again 2 days
I
ago.
saw,
Yeah.
I saw it. The
They-
one that
they
got
disallowed
I
disallowed.
mean, they disallowed it, but I was like, I don't know.
Haters. It was haters.
I was like calling the shot. I was with my oldest kids, whatever. And then I'm like, oh my God, he's going to pull that, bring it back to his forehand.
He doesn't
Sure
have another
enough.
one. We never saw it. There was the only. It worked twice. We all fell in
then,
love.
yeah.
It didn't work twice, and we never saw him again.
Yeah.
He tried it to the forehand, he flipped it one time and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then he was done.
Yep.
New
that was it.
conference this year. Let's try it.
On that final note, if you're trying to de-stress from this game, hit up High Plains Strains. If you're anywhere in northern Colorado, High Plains Strains has you covered with 3 locations, one in Log Lane Village, Garden City, and Sedgwick. So they've got it. They've got everything you need when it comes to flour, gummies, all those sorts of products. A bunch of great deals going on right now. You can use the DNVR code online or go in store and mention DNVR, and you can get a full ounce for $80, Veritas 8s for $25, Mammoth 1G cartridges for $15, and Exquisite Extracts 4 for $40. So tons of great options, tons of great deals with High Plains Strains. Jump on it with that DNVR code. Again, you can either go in-store to one of their 3 locations, or you can get with them online at highplainsstrains.com to get a good deal, get yourself a little bit de-stressed from the Avalanche. That's all I got for today. Do we have any super chats? We do have a couple super chats. $5 from Miss Truly, who says, "Hello, Megan. So nice to see you."
Hi, Miss Truly.
Thank you for the 5. And then $5 from Melanie, who says, "Losing sucks. At least we got a point. On to the next. No time to cry over this one." And I think this is a good point. A lot of...
Stop crying.
no, well, sure. But you have a lot of problems, I think, with some of the more recent Avs losses. The Nashville one, the Seattle one. You wanted them to get points out of those games. And tonight wasn't a, oh my God, I can't believe they got a point, but they did get a point. They didn't get zeroed. And that adds up pretty quick over the course of a regular season. Just ask the Dallas Stars, who do it every year.
I was going to say, this is the Stars, method.
Yep.
They play blah in regulation, they get there.
Squeak it to overtime.
Go into overtime, and then
You win or
whatever
lose.
happens.
Yep.
Then they get into the postseason, and 3-on-3 and shootouts don't exist, and they lose. And that's why they don't win the Stanley Cup.
Yep. Funny how that works.
Yeah.
But just to make this point, this was what, game 22, so there's 60 games left in the season. If the Avs OTL the rest of the way through the season, they're a 90-plus point team.
Easily.
So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see how well the Avs have set themselves up.
Yeah, and points is the point of the regular season.
Yep.
Not necessarily wins, it's points. And so if you're going to lose, do it this way.
Yep.
It's not to say that they won't lose games in regulation. They will. I don't know how some of you guys are going to handle that. I worry about you. But it's okay. Getting a point on the road against a good team, against a solid Arizona team, it's fine.
If you win 7 of 8 and then lose 1 in overtime, you're okay.
Wow.
No need to panic.
Yeah, you're 37 seconds away from a 9-game point streak.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Some perspective, I don't know how much that helps.
Well, we'll let y'all figure it out for yourselves. We are going to wrap up tonight's show. We are off tomorrow because we have the doubleheader coming up this weekend. Again, bunch of stuff going on at the bar this weekend. If you're local, come down, say hello to us, enjoy some of the festivities and the watching of the games. If not, we'll be here doing pregame, watch along, postgame, the whole business. So join us that way. Like and subscribe here on YouTube. Be sure to check out thednvr.com tonight, as we'll have written pieces from Megan and AJ. My video will be up on YouTube later tonight, too. So we appreciate y'all, and we will talk to you in the next one.
We all silly like the mayor.